So there are quite a few reasons to row a 2 kilometre time trial. Maybe you're in a race, maybe your coach uses them as a way to gauge your improvements. Or, like with my training plans, they're used as the very core basis of how you pace the sessions within the plan. Now, whether you've never done one before or whether you're returning to them after a period away due to injury or illness, you need to know kind of how fast you're going to row it before you row it. So how do you work that out? How do you find out a way that you can row that you don't completely blow your system within only a couple of 100 metres, or you don't finish and go, I could do that again, I'm not putting enough into it? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a very rough ballpark that will let you do just that. So leave me a comment on this video and let me know how often you do your 2K time trial, and if you want, let me know what your current 2K time is. So the two sides to pacing a 2K the wrong way are that either you start out way too fast and after 200 or 300 metres you're completely exhausted and you have to slow right down by 20 or 30 seconds in order to catch your breath. And then with about 500 metres to go, you can then sprint again with a second wind and kind of get to the end nice and fast, but as an overall row, it's nowhere near a reflection of what you would be capable of. Now the other side of this is if you're a little bit fearful of what it's going to be like and you start off too slow and you paddle through for about 1500 metres and with 500 metres to go you go, actually I've got quite a lot of energy left, and then you sprint home. But again, that's not really a reflection of how your 2K could be. What you're looking for is to find a pace where you're putting in everything from a cardio point of view, so your fitness is really up at the top, and then everything from a muscle point of view, so you're using your muscles as much as you can. And then you get to the end of the 2,000 metres and you're completely spent. You could not do another stroke. Okay, so admittedly, as long as this is medically okay for you to do it, that's the point of this. Okay, if you Google 2K time trials, you will see people all over the world falling off the machines at the end of this because they've put in so much effort. And that's really, when it comes to a race, or you're trying to prove to your coach that all the money you've been giving them is worth it, or if you're trying to set a good base pace for a training plan, that's really what you're looking for. You don't want to be pacing this. You don't want to be going too fast either, because that doesn't really give you the reflection of your fitness and power. So, don't worry, I'm getting to the point now. How do you work out what you should be rowing your first 2K at, okay? Or when you've come back from injury. So if you've never done one before, and you've never had an idea of pacing, what do you do? How do you then sit down at a 2K and make sure you can be the baby bear, get the pacing right? Here's what to do. You row a 500 metre time trial, okay? So put 500 metres into your monitor and row it as fast as you can. Now this one, I want you to go absolute eye-bulgingly fast from the start, okay? Put everything you can, high stroke rate, all the power from your legs, and just get through that 500 metres as fast as you possibly can. If you start to fade with like 200 metres to go, that's okay. Just keep on putting in as much as you can. Don't worry if the time on the monitor starts to go down. Just keep on rowing it as fast as you can, okay? And when you're done, look at the time it took for you to cover that 500 metres. What you're going to do next is add 10 seconds to that, okay? So if you rowed 500 metres in 1 minute and 52 seconds, you add on 10 seconds, and that gives you 2 minutes and 2 seconds, okay? Now, we've already rowed 500 metres, so we then times it by 4 to blow it up to 2,000 metres, which in this case, 2 minutes and 2 seconds times 4 is 8 minutes and 8 seconds. And that is your ballpark time, the kind of ballpark starting time for your first or your returning 2K. Now, why I say ballpark and all that stuff is that really it's going to be kind of plus or minus 5 seconds because this isn't, listen, correlating a time from a time isn't an exact science in any way. So this is just to give you a bracket in order to work, okay? So what you do is you put your 2,000 metres into the monitor, and this is assuming that you're using something like a Concept 2 that shows you your 500 metre split time, okay? That's the one that says /500m. If you don't have a machine that shows you that, I'm afraid you're slightly onto plums. You're going to have to work out a different way to gauge this, but hopefully you can work out the same principle. But anyway, you put your 2,000 metres into the machine, and then in this example, you start rowing it at 2 minutes and 2 seconds pace, right? So you start your 2K bang on 2:02, and then you get through the first 500 metres, and you think, right, how's it going? Can I go faster? In which case you might want to go up to 2 minutes, take 2 seconds off it. Or you could think, this is getting a little bit on top of me, should I back off by a couple of seconds? In which case you back off by a couple of seconds. And then you do it again after 500 meters. You think, well, can I actually go faster now, having backed off? Or do you think, oh, I'll just hold my pace, etc., etc. And after each 500 meters, or even after every 100 meters, you just appraise and think, how am I doing? Am I going to get to the end at the current pace that I'm going? Should I go faster in order to get a better 2K time? And then with that 500 meters to go, you can then think, right, it's only 500 meters to go, I'm just going to go for it, and you sprint. So no matter what campaign you're in, you try and get that last 500 meters out as fast as you can, all right? And that's really how you pace your first ever 2K time trial, okay? So you take that really ballpark average from the 500 meters, and then you start the 2K at that, and then you just adjust up and down. Because what you don't want to do is sit down for your first 2K, and then you go absolutely eye-bulgingly blazing for the first 200 meters. You're rowing at 130 splits. You're like, I'm going to do a 6-minute 2K. But then 200, 300 meters into it, you're like, oh, that was a mistake. And you have to back right down to 2 minutes 30. And then you're rowing, paddling along for that for the next 1,000 meters before you can get your breath back. And then you can sprint to the end or go a little bit faster to the end, okay? That's not the point. What we're looking for here is maximum performance endurance, right? What that means is being able to put in everything from your legs, everything from your cardio, but meter it out, hold it over a certain amount of time or distance. So for 2K, you want to be at the max cardio and max muscles that you can achieve for that whole 2K race, okay? Or you want to be like 95% and then have a little bit that you can add at the end. But you don't want to be like full 100% and then have to go down to like 20% and then 100% at the end, because that's not about performance endurance. That's about sprint, rest, sprint, which isn't what the 2K test is, and it's not going to be a proper reflection of what you're capable of if you're going to be basing your future training off that. All right, so that's why my 500 meter and then you use that bracket is a much better way to approach your first ever or your returning 2K. Okay, so I hope that kind of made sense. If it doesn't, please let me know in the comments and I'll try and address them in there, or hey, I might just completely redo this video if it's made no sense whatsoever. Anyway, so please make sure and check out all the row along workouts and plans and stuff that I have on this channel. I've got a 500 meter, I've got 2K plans, a 5K, a 10K plan. I've got 30 days of 30-minute rows. I've got 12 rows of Christmas, lunchtime rows, and every single one of them works as a standalone workout. It doesn't matter whether you do one for, if you saw like a 5 times 6 minute row on a 2K plan and you fancy the idea of it, just row it. No one's going to knock on your door and say, oh, excuse me, sir, I see that you rowed week 3, session 2 of the 2K plan. We think you should do the whole thing now. No one's going to do that to you. And no one will ever come knocking on your door asking for money. Okay? Nothing I do will ever hit a point when I'm going to say, you're going to have to pay for this now. Okay? So I have the Patreon account, patreon.com/RowAlong. If you want to donate money and that lets me buy tech to make all these videos and stuff, then lovely. I'll gratefully accept that. But I will never ask. I will never say to you, you have to pay in order to get something else. That's not what I'm about. I do not want to make money out of you. I want to row with you. And that's what the row along workouts are about. And that's what these little videos are about. Okay? So there we go. That's my spiel. I do hope it made sense. Please let me know if you have, well, I've already said let me know if you have any questions. So I'm kind of running out of words to say. So I might as well say goodbye. Please look after yourselves. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.